Every faith and non-faith in this world has taqiyya. The greatest propaganda coup of our time is the ability of all the other faiths to scapegoat Islam with taqiyya and blame them because they're the ones alone among all the faiths and non-faiths who admit that the concept exists in their faith, that in extremis it's okay to tell some fibs or to obfuscate about your religion. Whereas every other faith and non-faith practices taqiyya openly and extremely effectively in order to deny anything that might actually make their point of view look bad. And one of the central tenets of non-Islamic taqiyya is that you never admit that it even exists. So you can lie all you like, and you're using taqiyya, but you don't actually admit that taqiyya exists. Therefore, no one can actually accuse you of doing that, which gives you the freedom to say whatever you like in order to vilify anyone that you want and to deny anything that might actually make your point of view or your philosophy or your religion look bad. One of the central tenets of non-Islamic taqiyya is to never admit that it even exists. Alone among the major faiths, again, the Muslims say that there is such a thing as taqiyya, which is employable under certain specific circumstances, which gives an opening for all the other faiths to say essentially that everything that a Muslim ever says is a potential lie. Whereas all other faiths and non-faiths do this as a matter of course, but they don't ever admit that the concept of taqiyya exists. That makes them a lot more effective in their employment of the concept of taqiyya on their side. Does anyone actually think that I believe what I just said? No, of course I don't. But what I'm pointing out is the sheer folly of accusing anyone of habitually lying. If you're going to take people on in debates, if you're going to try and get to the core of what someone else believes, you've got to assume that they occasionally tell you the truth. Otherwise, all you're doing really is firing barbs at each other. If you say to a Muslim, everything that you say is potentially a lie, you have essentially declared war on that person. You have not said that you're interested in debating them. You've essentially said that you cannot be debated with. My relationship to you is, at its fundamental, one of conflict, or at least one of antagonism, because I can't trust anything that you say. What do you suppose that does to a Muslim who is interested in reaching out to the West, or who is interested in isolating the lunatics in his own community? When he tries to say, look, I have at least some right on my side here. I understand that Osama bin Laden is kind of a black mark on our faith in female genital mutilation and misogyny and homophobia. I understand that, and I agree with you that that's something that we Muslims have to work on. But I've got at least some right on my side, and here's the good things about my faith, my lifestyle, and what my faith teaches me to do in the real world. Well, if you've accused that guy of taqiyya, there's no incentive for him to attempt to talk to a non-Muslim, to get along, to isolate the lunatics in his own community. Because when you say that every Muslim practices taqiyya, or that taqiyya is acceptable to every Muslim, you've simply said that there's nothing that a Muslim can say that I can't say is a pile of malarkey. That I can just say, all that you're doing is you're firing out smoke and mirrors to make yourself look good. Now, that's why I say that it's so incredibly damaging and pointless to constantly throw the T word in a Muslim's face. It's the height of folly, because you're essentially saying that accommodation is impossible, this is war. Not only that, not only are you actually saying that everything that you say is a potential lie, what you are doing is you are ensuring that conflicts of this nature go on forever, that conflicts of philosophy go on forever, because you can level that charge at absolutely anyone, as I have said in the earlier part of this video. If you talk about the various ethnic nationalisms that take place in southeastern Europe, all that the people ever do, all the Serbs ever accuse the Croats or the Greeks accuse the Albanians of doing, is lying, habitually lying. Everything that you say is a lie. Nothing that you say can be relied upon, because all you ever do is fib. That's at the heart of it. That, to me, is what keeps the mad wars of southeastern Europe going forever. If you say that nothing that the other guy says is believable, forget about attempting to get along with him. You're driving him more than any other way that you can possibly think of back into the arms of the extremists. If that's what you want, keep using the T word. And also, I must confess, there are two sides to this story. To all Muslims who think that they're doing their community a service by either hiding the ugliness in their community, obfuscating regarding the problems in their own community, i.e. the things that I do allude to: misogyny, female genital mutilation, homophobia, anti-Semitism, bigotries of whatever kinds, you're not doing your community any good at all. People will find out. Now, I'm not saying that that tendency is taqiyya, nor am I saying that Muslims are the only people who are guilty of this kind of thing. I think every community is guilty of this to a certain extent. But it still is an ultimately self-destructive habit. If you hide the warts in your community, people sniff them out anyway and say you are deliberately misrepresenting yourself. Muslims are humans, and humans are about an equal mix of good and evil. We want the good side to predominate, but pretending that our good side is more powerful in us than it is in most other people simply because of our faith, well, that's just plain arrogance. Thank you.